The family back again for another devotion. Today we're looking at 1 Samuel chapter 17. Kind of pick up around verse 23, if you will. So here we have the story of David and Goliath. And we're talking about really more so specifically, of course, David and his role, his position in this story. And so David was with his father, Jesse, and they was talking because three of his older brothers had gone off with Saul to battle. And so David was telling David was told by his father, Jesse, he said, hey, when you get up, you need to take all this food, and take it to your brothers so they can eat. Just make sure they get nourished, make sure they're okay. So David, being obedient, he did that. And so when he got there, when he arrived, talking with his brothers, all of a sudden Goliath shows up, the Philistine shows up. And so when he shows up, he's talking all this noise about who he is and what he can do in his 9 foot plus stature. And the Bible says that when all the men saw this great, massive man, that they were all fearful. It said they all ran and fled because they were afraid. Well, David was in his teenage years. And so if you know, like I know, most teenagers, they feel like they can't be beaten. It's like them against the world. There's no beating them. No matter what you do, no matter how you do it, you're not going to outlast them. None of that. Right? So David is already in this mode already. But that's a specific reason why he's in that mode. So he's asking the question to the men that's still standing around by him, like, hey, what's going to happen with the person that, that that kills this giant? And so they told him all the great things that would come about, if he were to accomplish that. And so he was like, cool, I'm down. And so now the first thing that he recognized, the Bible says he looked at Goliath and said, who is this uncircumcised man? And so the Bible, in the biblical days, uncircumcised or circumcision represented a covering. And so David recognized that Goliath wasn't under a covering, even though he was. And so that's what gave David that mindset of moving forward and operating without fear. David was all heart, no fear in him. His heart didn't pump no Kool-Aid, as we used to say back in the day. David was fearless. And he was fearless because his perspective was different. His perspective was different because he knew he was under the covering. And Goliath wasn't. The covering, he knew that God had him. No matter what he did, no matter where he went, he knew God had him. So the first thing for you is to understand that, man, God got you. And everything you do and everything that come your way, God got you. If you move and operate with the confidence that God is in control and that he determines and he declares what the outcome is, it allows you to move forward without fear. It allows you to move forward with a high level of confidence, knowing that you can accomplish whatever it is that's set out before you. And understand this, when the Bible says that God will never leave you nor forsake you, say, man, I'll be with you even to the end of your days. That's a promise that he's going to keep and that he does keep day in and day out. So no matter your circumstance, no matter what it is that you're faced with, that you're dealing with, God is always there. And so here's what we pick up with David. David knew that and he understood that. And so because he understood that, the Bible says that, man, David ran to the lion when it was time for battle. And now here's the crazy part. Here's the other part that's a game changer in this situation. Because the first game changer was recognizing that Goliath was under the covering. The second game changer came around verse 23. I'm going to read it. Verse 23, it says, the Philistine said to David, am I a dog that you come to me with sticks? He says, and the Philistine cursed David by his gods. See, that's where he messed up. So Saul, who's some 7-foot man himself, said, David, look, if you want to fight, boom, you got it. You can accept the challenge. I'm going to give you my stuff, roll with it. David was like, man, I can't fight. I can't move forward with this stuff. And so he took all that off. David picked up a stick, as the Bible said, and 5 smooth stones. So that's what Goliath was referring to. And when he said, man, am I a dog? You come to me with a stick? And so because David understood that he wasn't circumcised, he knew that he had sought out a certain level of weakness, if you will, associated with the Philistine. So he knew he can press forward because he knew God had him. The other thing in this is Goliath cursed his God. So that pissed David off. at the end of the day, because they was like, man, you can talk about me, you can talk about my family, whatever, but look at this, you're not going to talk about my God. And so here's the other game changer. Goliath recognized the spiritual thing behind the source of strength that he was recognizing in David. And he knew that the source of strength had to be something big. So that was a game changer, but he still doubted David's capabilities. He doubted that David would ever be able to do anything to him. And so even though what was in front of David seemed like it was insurmountable, because of his confidence, because of his ability to trust and believe in the God that he served, it gave him the mitigated God, as some preachers would say. It gave him a high level of confidence in pressing forward. So, just as the Bible said, the story goes on, David slew Goliath, chopped his head off, and the Bible even talks about how David kept the sword after that for many, many years. And the reason why David kept the sword is because he wanted that to be a constant reminder that what God had done before, he can do again. He will do again. If God has ever been there for you, if he's ever come through for you in any situation, just know that that's not it. He's not done. He will do it over and over and over again. He's the same God yesterday, today, and forevermore. So he's not going to ever change. So you have so many different things in your life that's a constant reminder that God still is who he is. He still sits high on the throne and looks down low. He still loves you like a brother. He still loves you more than words can express. So whatever it is that you're dealing with, wherever you are in life, whatever it is that's happening, just know and understand God got you, man. And if you recognize the small things and understand that sometimes you're the small thing, you become the game changer. You change the game. So whatever it is that's going on around you, with the people that you're dealing with in your professional life and the things that you do day in and day out, the smallest thing that you do could change the game. And it can have a massive effect on everybody around you. So trust God and trust the God that's working in and through you in order for you to accomplish what it is he's already set out for you to do. God bless.